Hey Ron, how you doing?
Oh man, I couldn't be better. It's a beautiful evening.
Got a question for you.
What's that?
Have you ever heard, seen, or I don't know, just witnessed a statement that when it came out of their mouth, you had to stop and wonder if the person was just drunk?
Well, only when I'm awake, usually. Most important thing to understand is that includes me half the time.
Right? All right, touche. I'm with you. I'm pretty sure I fall into that group of people. Hey everybody, this is Ron. I'm Martin. Welcome to Are You Drunk? We're going to be talking about everything. Nothing's off the table.
Nope.
Everything is fair game. But I think we got a good one tonight. We're going to be talking about a subject that is really important, and it's coming up quick. What is that, Rob?
Well, Marty, November 8th, we're all going to be head to the polls to
Right.
either change people representing us or put the same ones back in. But
Or live with
you're
it.
going to hear people when you're sitting around a table say the following statement because it's all over the place. You know what? I'm not going to vote because my vote just doesn't matter. And I'm telling you, when you hear someone say that, you should look at them in the face and say, "Are you drunk?" Because
Exactly.
because their vote does matter. You know, I guess I'm really kind of surprised that it takes people to try to raise awareness to get people to express their right to vote or to exercise their right to vote.
Right.
Honestly,
Yeah, because everybody's got an opinion and they voice it all the time, right?
yeah.
And folks, that's what your vote is. It's your opinion. It is your mouthpiece. It's exactly what it's meant to do, and that's promote the idea of what I believe in. And you vote every day, folks. Every day. Ron, I didn't mean to
Every time
interrupt
you
you.
get
I'm
out of
sorry.
bed,
Yeah,
every time you get out of bed,
right.
you're voting. Every time you decide to stop at a stoplight, you're voting. I mean,
Or
it's a
drive
good
badly.
vote to stop, but
I vote not to drive well. Yeah, that's what I do today. No, folks, it's simple. You
yep.
have the rights and the wonderful ability in America to do that. There are a lot of places around the world where you can't. And heck, in our history, for a while, we didn't have that opportunity. 246 years ago, we had to go to war. We literally had to go to war. Well, over 250 years ago, we had to go to war to really,
Against Mother England.
yeah, because we weren't being represented and we were being overtaxed and we didn't like it. So
Right.
we took the fight. We actually won the fight. We won our independence. We built the nation. And man, I'm telling you this right now, we still are as bad at voting now as we were then.
Yeah,
We
that's for
There was
sure.
one guy that from history I always thought was the only person running for presidency. No. You want to know how many people actually ran for the presidency back in
I think they were all pretty old. I don't think
1789?
any of them actually ran.
Well, and those high heels and the wig, you know.
No, I'm going to take a guess at four or five. Maybe a couple extras in there. First
12,
time out.
12 of
12.
them.
That's a
12.
lot of choices. Yeah,
Yeah. And there was no
I wouldn't fly
narrowing it
today.
down, no parties. Yeah. So, and old George only got 69% of the vote out of 12 people. I
The
really
dude
don't
won a
know.
war. How'd that happen?
Right? This is the funniest thing. Out of the 13 colonies or sisters by the sea, you know how many states actually voted?
Okay, you're telling me we actually only had 13 and some of them didn't even show up to vote?
Yep, that's what I'm telling you.
How
Three
many?
of them.
Three.
Three. Now, we had just fought a war for independence and we weren't being represented. And that's one of the reasons why we fought. And then 3 states don't show up, yet they're being represented by the other 10.
So how did the whole state not show up?
I don't even get it. Well, 2 of them had ratified the Constitution, but hadn't gone in and, picked out anybody for the Electoral College. The other
Right.
one never ratified the Constitution, and so they couldn't pick anybody for the Electoral College. Now, 1 year later, they did. And I'm not going to tell you what state that was, but it is fun to go through history and find out which one is still a bonehead now, in my
Well,
eyes. But
I'd have loved to have seen that conversation. Hey, what's this document on your desk?
right. What
Oh,
is
it's the
this we the
Constitution.
people stuff? Yeah. To form a union? Yeah, folks. We still to this day don't get enough people to turn out for voting. So I find it funny when people get angry about the Electoral College. There's a reason why it exists. And the
Yeah.
reason is because a lot of people aren't informed. And the Electoral College is to let the people that are informed make the right choice for us, because we don't seem to want to be informed. And back in 1789, I can get it. But in 2022, you have this device. And if you aren't
Yep.
informed, that's on you, folks. I mean, it really is on you. Back then, it took forever to get anything anywhere, and we all played the telephone game. And God forbid, it's never the right thing when it starts and when it ends. So,
No,
a
I
day,
mean,
a week, a month, a year, however long it takes to get some information there and get it back. Come on, come on.
we'll know what Ariana Grande eats for lunch, but we won't know what politicians stand for or what our representatives stand for.
Right.
You know,
You can tell me what great social media stars do and everything, but people don't seem to be worried about money leaving their pocket due to taxes or other things, or where they're going to put a road, or what the school curriculum is, or are they going to fund Medicare or whatever this is. They don't care. But those things matter, and the stuff on social media doesn't matter. Stop funding those and start funding yourself with the right things you need to do. I don't know.
that's right.
I could get on a high horse about it. I'm trying to be nice. I don't want to be, but I'm trying to be nice.
Some of us have to work harder than others. Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about it, Ron. The first time you voted, seriously, the first time you voted, were you prepared or were you ill prepared?
I just want you to know, Marty, I was absolutely immaculate at it. I mean, I was perfect. Yeah. I
You do
mean,
walk on water most of the time. I do understand that. Yes.
yeah, yes. It's hard to be amongst the rest of you people, but
Perfection.
well,
Oh, perfection.
well, pretty much all that's a lie, because my first time out was not a pretty sight. Speaking of lying, I actually lied to my father because he asked me if I was going to vote Democrat, and I said yes, and then voted straight Republican ticket, and only because I followed the news media. I
Oh,
just,
yeah.
and
Those honest
honestly,
individuals there.
yeah. Of course, they've been messing things up ever since the beginning. I mean, back even in the 1700s. I mean, many of the parties actually own papers. So yeah, that's not exactly the easiest way to get your information.
Let me
But
interrupt you real quick. Folks, if you
go
ever
ahead.
really want to have a good time, go back and look at political comics from the early America until now, and you think they're hard on people now. Some of those
Oh
are
my,
ridiculous.
yeah,
All right, I'll let you go.
they
So
were
the first
brutal.
time
No,
you
that's all
voted, and
right.
your dad
No,
told you
my
how you
dad
were going
looked
to
at
vote.
me and said, "Hey, you will be voting straight Democrat." My dad was raised uh, a Southern Democrat, part of the unions, and it was important to him. But I don't know. I was listening to the news. I just felt like we needed a change, and I walked into that voting booth, and I was not creative or anything. I just simply went straight down the right hand side of the ballot. The only name I remember really is Ronald Reagan, and if I'm not mistaken, Bush ran with him.
Yeah,
Everybody, all the other yahoos on there, I don't know who they were. Honestly, I
just the
found
right
out
side.
back then. That's the first time I realized we actually voted on judges. Hey, go figure. But
That's
and I
awesome.
really wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah.
So, but you're a lot smarter than I am, Marty.
Oh, well, yes. Brilliant every day I wake
Did
up.
it go any better for you?
Well, I don't want to say I'm perfect, but I am closer than most.
Yeah.
You know, I went with three. I had three problems when I went to vote. I was stupid, ignorant, and dumb. And the bad thing is I grew up in a house quite like yours. Somebody informed, somebody who'd been in the military, somebody that really took it
Right.
seriously when they went to vote, and probably were really informed. I thought I was informed. I also was 18, and hopefully, all the men out there that are turning 18 have been 18, understand where I'm coming from. We think we know, but we don't. We don't know everything, and we are dumb. And
Yeah.
I walked into that polling place confident, proud, ready to go, grab my pencil, grab my paper, open that curtain, close that curtain, and then the cold sweat of fear ran up my back. And I realized that I was ill prepared to do what I needed to do for my country, my town, my state. I literally panicked inside, fever running. I'm just like, okay, I don't I don't know what I'm gonna do. I didn't even do what you did. I didn't even vote for one political party. I made an art project out of it. I went back and forth. I was like a kid that didn't study for a test. See,
You
see,
had
see,
a
see,
better
see.
opportunity to getting something right, though.
Oh my word. Yeah, yeah. I had a 50% of getting everything wrong though. I don't know if I screwed those people's lives up for decades, Ron. And if you're in the Norfolk, Virginia Beach area, I'm sorry. I apologize. I was not good, and I can only say I'm sorry. Hopefully, anything that happened was positive and not negative. But I don't even remember handing my ballot in or handing it to the person. I don't know if I threw it at them. I just remember I left with haste as fast as I could because I was worried somebody was going to ask me. So you were 18. How's your first time voting? I fled to my car, got in it, locked the door for extra safety, drove home. But the biggest problem I had, Ron, and you remember my father, my dad was home. There was going to be a question.
Yeah.
And I danced around that, and oh, it was awful. And I knew as soon as I started talking, I could see the disappointment in his eyes that his son had just failed him for not knowing anything. And then I felt bad. Our dinner was awful. It was all tasting where I went in my room and I swore to myself, I will never do this. I will never feel like I do today ever again. And so I've tried to live by that. I haven't always gotten it right. I haven't always been as prepared as I should have been, but I'm not as stupid as I was the first time I went. And I don't
Well,
have to lock my door and run from it when I leave. If somebody asks me a question, I feel like I can answer it.
they don't ask us questions anymore, though, Marty.
Yeah, yeah.
Now that we're
Have you
prepared,
ever
they
been
don't ask.
called on a poll? Have you ever had a poll call?
No,
Neither have
but I'm
I.
pretty sure I'm on a list. I'm pretty sure I'm on a list somewhere.
Like, oh, they study. Don't call them. Yeah. I
But
don't
you know
know,
what?
man.
Neither one of us were prepared,
None.
but I think we both, because I know we've talked about it. I know we're both connected to the feeling of voting now. I mean,
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
I don't want today to go by without really expressing to people the feeling of really being able to walk in there and make a decision and feel like you were involved and feel like you did your due diligence and you participated. I mean, that's
Right.
really what it's about. You have the opportunity to participate and really exercising it and participating. I will tell you, I wasn't really proud now about how I handled my vote, but I really was proud to vote. That's one thing I did get from my home growing up
Yep.
was a pride in America and the privilege we have here. And Marty, there are people trying to come here left and right because of that kind of privilege.
That's right.
And you know, other countries try to emulate what we do here. They many countries are striving to try to have the same kind of democracy we have here. You know, in that election, Marty, it was Ronald Reagan against Jimmy Carter,
Yeah.
and I just absolutely voted against Jimmy Carter. I wish I really would have known more about the man's
You're no
character,
longer it.
but
you have
but
to.
all these other countries that want to be like us. Here's one thing that Jimmy Carter actually stated. He said the best way to enhance freedom in other lands is to demonstrate here that our democratic system is worthy of emulation. You know, is it worthy to emulate 50% show up for the vote?
No.
I don't know about you, but like you've said to me before, that's like a D or less.
Oh, it's
I
awful.
don't even think
You
that's a
can't
D, is it?
graduate high school with that. Well, that might actually be an argue drunk statement. I'm pretty sure there's people that they get out with the averages,
Yeah,
legitimately.
possibly.
Well, Susan B. Anthony said it the best for me. And I mean, if somebody has a problem with Susan B. Anthony, please let me know what it is, because I cannot wait to hear what this remark is. She said, someone struggles for your right to vote, so use it. I don't think it could be clearer than that. And I mean, there are people out there that work hard to make us safe, and they've blood, sweat, tears, lives, family members, your family members, people that have marched, people that have protested. We've had suffrage movements ever since those first original votes because not everybody got to vote. I mean, seriously, men and women could vote in the very first election, but the women had to either be divorced or widowed. So
So
I'm
you're
pretty
telling
sure
me,
they were happy either way because they didn't have a man in their life any longer and they got property. But we took that away from them. And then
right?
not all men got to vote. And it was ridiculous. So between men, women, minorities, religious freedom, all that stuff, down the line, we gave it, we took it back multiple times. And now in 2022, I don't think there's any reason why people shouldn't be able to vote unless somebody's really just out trying to make it physically hard for some people to do. But here's the idea, folks. You don't have to rely on actually physically going to the
No,
poll to vote. There are 1,000 ways you can, well, I shouldn't say 1,000. There are a number of ways you can do it. And you just need to do it. And don't worry about what people are going to try to do or put a poll someplace or something. You don't have to do any of it. You can sit right in your house and vote. And I know there are people that don't like it. Fine. But it's been around for over 100 years. It's been fine. The military does it. 38 states that I know have done it for over 100 years. You can do a mail-in ballot. As long as you've called in and they send it to you, it's going to be fine. Now, if they just randomly send you one, I would be questioning. If you get
yeah,
multiple ballots to your house and they're not in your name, do the right thing. Call the clerk and say, hey, these people don't live here. They'll stop. It's amazing what happens when people actually do the right thing.
well,
Or they're not what I refer to. I think a lot of people have a suffrage movement now called lazy butt movement. That's the biggest suffrage movement now, is that they're just lazy, or they have no rapid foot
yeah,
movement, which is just called walking, folks. It's
it's
just
an epidemic, actually.
yeah, it's right. It's laziness. And
Yeah.
here's an idea, folks. You don't want somebody telling you how to live and what to do. So why are you going to give them the opportunity to take your vote away? Go vote. Just go vote. It's you. But be informed. Let me help you out. I'm going to help you out with that. Ron's going to help. I'll let you go first. What are the two
All
websites
right.
you're going to give them?
Yeah, I got two websites for you. The first one is Just Facts, votesmart.org.
The short
Just
one.
Facts, Just Facts dot votesmart.org. Okay.
I
If you
think you've
don't
been
believe me, it's
drinking.
going to be in the show notes. That's what it is. Okay.
I think you've
The,
been
the cool
drinking.
the cool thing about that website, folks, is it's going to give you all kinds of information about every candidate. You put your address in, it's going to take you to all the information who represents you at every level of government. Um, the other one is it really stands for what Martin and I are talking about today, which is exercising your right to vote, and it's called whenweallvote.org.
Right.
Whenweallvote.org. You can register on this website to vote. You can check your registration. You can find out where the voting centers are. You can order your mail-in ballot. You can find out where you can register or where you can go vote early. And here's the biggest thing. They have all kinds of resources for you to work within your community to get others out there to vote. Because
There's an idea.
I hope we encourage, some people to go out and do that this year. I hope we encourage everybody listening to do that. But I
Yeah.
would love for you to take 10 or 20 or 30 more people with you to the polls this year to vote. Multiply your vote. Well, I'm going to coin a phrase that my wife, when I was telling her about this, brought up, which was carpool. Get as
Yeah.
many people as you can in your car. And hey, if you're a church or another community organization and you've got a 15 passenger or 20 passenger bus, fill it up with people and take them to vote. I expect people November 8th, folks, when we go out to vote, the week before, fill up your social media feeds with, hey, go out to vote. Be a nuisance to your friends and tell them, hey, let's go vote. Hey, let's get together and let's
Yeah.
go
Don't
vote
tell them
together.
how to vote
No,
unless they want to discuss some information, but just encourage them to go vote.
right.
Yeah,
Um,
because I think JFK said it the best. The ignorance of one voter in democracy impairs the security of us all. And Ron and I don't want you to be ignorant. We don't want you to be stupid. We don't want you to be able to play dumb. And with the two websites he gave you, I'm going to give you three. They all start with the www dot, and one is vote.org. The next one is congress.gov. And the other one is ballotready.org. That one right there is kind of like what Ron said. It's just another tool in your toolbox so you can actually make an educated choice. And that's what it is, folks. You just got to go out there. You got to do it. You can't play You can't, as they say, sit on your laurels, which is, okay, I know my mom's gonna watch this. Sit on your butt. It means you got to get up and move. And when
That's
I
right.
mean move, I mean get those feet moving, get out there, start talking. You got neighbors, find out who doesn't have a ride, offer a ride. And if they want to go early, offer them to go early. There's no line typically if you go early. It's pretty much in and out, and it can't be 4 minutes on average. And if you get a mail-in ballot, good Lord, you almost have 2 months to get it done. If you can't get it written in and figure out your
That's like
choices,
an open
by
book
then,
text. That's an open book test. It
yeah,
is.
right,
I mean, look
right,
it up, look them up as you go.
yeah,
Come on.
right. I encourage and challenge everybody with the websites we gave you. Go online, find out who your local council is, and find out who they're affiliated with.
10,
Start
15
there.
minutes a day, folks. 10 or
Yeah.
15 minutes a day. You don't have to spend all day on there, but
And
learn
voting's a
something every day.
pyramid. Voting's a pyramid, Ron. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Voting is a
You're
pyramid.
fine.
As you start at the bottom, there's going to be more people, but as you go through your state and it goes up, it narrows down. And so your choices, it won't take you forever. And I know you'll have to get off social media. God forbid you're not on one of those formats, unless they're ours that we're talking about. You can be on those.
That's right.
Because you're going to get the information there anyways. But just shut them off for a few minutes. Go through, do the thing, because Dwight D. Eisenhower, he said it the best: the future of the republic is in the hands of the American voter. And Ron has a good quote. What's your quote, Ron? What's the one you came up with?
Yeah, I mean, we celebrate democracy here in the United States, but, and I'm not trying to be melodramatic, but
Yes,
democracy and and freedom can be lost. And if you don't believe me, go out there and do a search on your wonderful device and find out how democracy can be lost.
Heck, folks,
Because it,
you can watch the news on this one. Sorry to interrupt, Ron, but look at Ukraine. Look at the Middle East, where all the women have lost their rights to votes once we left Afghanistan. So don't
that's
think
right.
it can't be taken away from you, folks.
No,
Sorry, Ron.
I mean,
I just wanted
so
to get that in.
here's my quote: democracy is lost one uncast vote at a time.
That's right.
And that's the truth.
I agree with you.
If you don't believe me, then keep being lazy, keep sitting at home and not going to vote. And because if you do, you won't get to complain later when your freedoms are taken away.
They're gonna.
Probably.
They're good. But here's the
We're
thing
not
that
gonna
should
listen,
scare you.
but
Here's the thing that should scare the people that actually watch this. If you live in our state, where Ron and I do, and you don't vote, Ron and I are going to vote. And you want us speaking for you? Like, I don't care what political party you're with. I don't care, Democrat, Republican, Independent. I don't care. Yeah, that's my language.
good save.
I started to get angry there for a minute. I don't care. But what I do care about is you having knowledge to make an educated choice. And granted, folks, I know some of the choices we're left with, they're awful. But why is that? That's because we're not involved. Oh, my word.
Right.
Things only improve when we get involved. Preamble to the Constitution. We, the people, in order to form a more perfect union. That's what we're all supposed to be doing. It's trying to form a more perfect union, not trying to be lazy and not go vote. They could make voting, or they could get rid of voting altogether and then make everybody have to serve as a public servant, like jury duty. How would you like that? Would that
you really want your
vote
Uncle Frank serving?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. And these goofy people that you vote in get a pension for the rest of their life. After
Who came up with that rule?
One term. Yeah.
Have you ever asked that question, folks? Who came up with that rule? I'll tell you who came up with that rule. The yahoos in Congress. That's who came up with that rule.
The same ones that don't want term limits. Yeah. It's funny how they want term limits for the justice and for the executive, but they don't want term limits for the legislative.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Pot calling the kettle something? No.
That's right.
We don't get to do that. No, absolutely not. You know, Barack Obama is a controversial president for a lot of people. Some people like him, some people don't. But he did have a great quote, and I got to stand behind his quote. It said, "There's no such thing as a vote that doesn't matter," and that's basically what our show's about. I would stand right behind that statement from Barack Obama. I didn't agree with everything, but then again, I don't agree with every president that's in it because they are human. and they are going to make mistakes. We're all fallible, folks. And when they promise stuff, I don't even worry about it because they can't promise it. They can only suggest it and try. And that's how they should say, we're going to do our best to accomplish this. They should never promise, because when they promise, it screws them, and then they're
Yeah.
voted out, even if they're good or bad. And if their political party they're associated with doesn't help them. I mean, Carter fell victim to that. There's been a couple other presidents fell victim to it. You kind of just end up being a lame duck. There's not a whole lot you can do. But yet Carter was great once he left. My word, what has he done when he left? He's outshined every other president.
Habitat for Humanity. I mean, who hasn't heard of that phenomenal organization, changing people's lives, putting people in homes? That's pretty phenomenal.
Right.
I mean, we're often worried about our president's character, but by most people's standards, that means who they're sleeping with.
Right.
I care a lot less about that than I do about how they treat people. And, to be very honest, and
I mean all the people, not just a portion of the people and the people that voted for him. Everybody that votes has a right to be treated fairly and has a right to actually be able to speak with the person that's voted into office, regardless if they voted for him or not. If you voted for him and they won, great. But if you didn't vote for him, here's your opportunity to figure out where the common ground might be. Make them come to the table. You come to the table, have a conversation, especially on the local level. You can call those people and speak to them directly.
Marty, you mentioned suffrage movements earlier. I got something for the ladies. I got a quote for the ladies to hear from Coretta Scott King. It says, the American woman would increase their voting turnout by 10%. I think we would see an end of all the budget cuts and programs benefiting women and children. So, I mean, if you care about how women are represented, then
get out and vote.
Then get out and vote, and take 10 or 15 women with you to go vote. I mean,
and then go out and eat afterwards, celebrate it. Ron, I've often said that it should be a holiday anyways. I have a solution if they don't want to make it a holiday.
Oh, here we go, folks.
Yeah. Ron doesn't like it because he is in charge of people. I like it because I think it scares the pants off of every organization and the federal government. Folks, call in sick. America needs a mental health day, and they need you to go vote. So call in sick. Hashtag I'm going to go vote. And if HR has a problem with it, I would love to see that on the news. HR department fires people for voting. You don't think that'll get a headline, and you don't think that will gain traction? You're out of your mind. Call in sick, take a vacation day. But here's the other thing. You can do that all the way up until you vote. You can take a sick day anytime you want to if they're not going to give it to you. I'm just going to simply tell you that you just need to go vote. And if you do it, you're going to scare the pants off your business, and you're going to scare the pants definitely off of the people you're voting in.
On that thought, Marty, I really got a good challenge for those that have larger businesses or leaders at larger businesses in our communities. How about making it easier for your team members to be able to vote? How about doing what you can to make sure that they have an opportunity to vote and exercise their rights that day? It should matter to you that your team members are good citizens.
That's right.
So, you mentioned earlier scaring the pants off of government.
Yep.
Alan Moore said, people shouldn't be afraid of their government. Government should be afraid of their people. And that's not like, trying to storm the White House or anything. That really means exercising your vote, folks, because Marty's right. What would you want to see our politicians look at things differently? It's going to be different if we have an 80% turnout. Oh. I'm telling you what, they will know they have to show up to work. They will know that somebody is watching, because 80% showing up, that means that's 30% more people that they've got looking at them constantly. You want to know what statistic really surprised me as I was looking at it, is that only 46% of young voters showed up in the United States. I mean, our young people nowadays really are about standing for something. I want to encourage them to, if this is your first year to be able to vote, encourage every friend you have to go vote. If you're on a college campus, then you should be having a booth getting people to to the polls to vote. If you're a university, then you should be making it an opportunity for kids to be able to vote on campus. Whatever you have to do to be able to make it work. Give them free food, for goodness sake. Everybody loves to eat.
Did you say food or booze? Because that's what it sounded like, booze.
Well, I actually called it foos, which is both food and booze, but whatever it takes.
It's nice that we're encouraging drinking. Yes. Because God knows after an election, I think most of us want to go drinking. But
hey, if enough of us show up, the guys running for office will go drinking. I'm telling you that, because they'll be worried.
Well, Lyndon B. Johnson had a great quote. A man without a vote is a man without protection. And you have a vote. So you have protection in the United States, folks. You have every ability to make sure that your future and your family's future and your friends' future going forward is a positive, bright future. And all you got to do is vote. You're important. Your vote's important. That's what Ron and I are really trying to tell you. And we just want to encourage you to go. Again, your political affiliation with, I don't care. I just want you to make the right choice. If you are going to stay in a group and not look across the board, that's fine. But maybe you should look at the other side and see what they're bringing to the table. It could be that somebody is better at that job than the person that is just in the party you're looking at. Again, I don't care, just as long as you're educating yourself and you're doing the right thing. Because if you do that, like G.I. Joe said, no one's half the battle. If you know,
that's right,
you're not going to walk in the booth and have cold sweat running down your back like I did and make a mistake. You're going to be able to do the right thing.
And you can beat Cobra. I just want you to know,
yeah.
if you
go Joe. There's a quote, I'm going to say it now. It still gives me goosebumps when I read it because I like history. And it's from Lincoln. And Lincoln said that a ballot is stronger than a bullet, which is amazing that he said that. And then the way, unfortunately, his life ended. That is from one of the best, if not the best president we ever had. Fought to get people free from slavery and give them the rights that America said that everybody had to begin with. And folks, there are people that come here, migrate here, become natural citizens. You want to know how much vote is, you want to know how much the vote is important to them? Ask them. You will be amazed. You will hear their stories. Reach out to your friend. We need to stop worrying about our neighbors as like they're some sort of, I don't know, enemy. They're your neighbor. Be neighborly. Right. You don't have to be their best friend, but you don't have to be a jerk. And reach out across the thing. And if there's a situation that comes up when you're voting that doesn't directly affect you, look at it from the other side. Look at it from a different point of view. See if it's the right choice for the people around you, even if it doesn't directly affect you, because in the long run, it may.
Yeah, I think one of the other things we can do this year when we go vote and when we have conversations is really learn to listen. Learn to listen across the table to somebody else. And that doesn't mean you always have to listen with an opportunity to respond. You don't have to agree with somebody that's sharing, but people really want to be heard. And at least listen, because what? Sometimes you might learn something because you might have a position.
Heaven forbid.
I know. You might hear something that's be like, you know what? I never really looked at it from that point of view.
Yeah.
But guess what? If you do that, you'll be more informed when you go to the polls to vote. Yeah. I'm challenging people to be creative in getting people out to the polls this year. Yep. Seriously, because Martin and I are going to do some things, and we're going to try to put them online and show you, because we are going to work really hard to try to get people, because you know what? I can sit here on this podcast and say it matters to me, but it really does matter to me. And I'm tired of saying things like this and not really doing anything to enact it. So, I'm making my pledge, folks, to take as many people as I possibly can. I'm actually going to try to make sure I'm off work that day so that I can.
You're calling in sick.
I have PTO.
Yeah. You have PTSD from voting?
Maybe.
Well, hey, folks, Ron's right. So church groups, civic centers, places that have vans, local buses in your neighborhood. Talk to your city, see what they're going to be doing come November, if they're going to be running people on that day, or if they're going to be doing it 2 months early, or not 2 months early, a month early, you get people to early voting. The 3 websites I gave you and the 2 that Ron gave you, which are going to be in the description, That's your ammunition, folks. It is your ability to know what's going on. And now you can't use the excuse that I don't know. You only don't know if you don't try. And if you're lazy, I'm going to vote for you. And I don't know if you want me to. And Ron's going to vote for you. And there's people we know, and they're going to make a vote, and you may not like the outcome. But if you go and you do your part, it may go your way. And then maybe Ron and I have to deal with that if we don't like the outcome. But the thing is I'm going to still make a phone call to whoever won. And they're going to know
That's
my
right.
name. And they should know your name. I'm telling you, the more people, nobody likes being scrutinized. And when a lot of people start looking at something, typically people always do the right thing. Now, you would hope that they'd have integrity and do the right thing anyways, but we all know how reality works.
Yeah.
Not everybody does it. Like, how many times have you not given back change that you received, a little over? The poor girl's got to counter tailback of the guy, and then he's got to come up with your short why. Well, because this greedy guy took $1.50 home that you accidentally gave him. All right, I'll get off my soapbox.
What's worse is when you tell them they made a mistake with your change and they tell you you're a liar, you're wrong.
Right. I'm trying to be honest. Now I got to count the drawer down. Oh, there's math involved.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, hey, we're going to be getting off here. We're going to you can go to a lot of different places to see us. We're going to list those down below. We're going to be doing some live stuff. We're going to be doing some recorded things. There's going to be, like I said, nothing's off the table. So going forward, Hey, Are You Drunk's going to be everywhere. Hopefully you see it. And we want you to put on all of our social platforms. If you see something that makes you wonder if they're drunk, put them on there and we'll comment about them. If there's something you want us to talk about, let's bring it up. Let's get together and have a conversation.
That's right.
That's right.
Hey,
and vote. Get out and vote.
I want to leave everybody with is, number one, this is not always going to be a political show. We're going to talk about all kinds of things, folks. But I want to leave everybody with one more quote from Abraham Lincoln. And it says, elections belong to the people. It's their decision. If they decide to turn their back on the fire and burn their behinds, then they'll just have to sit on the blisters. Folks, we don't want you sitting on the blisters, but you will unless you get out and exercise your vote. Thanks for the time tonight, folks. We'll see you around.
All right, go vote.
That's right.